Shalom, everybody. Lord's will you guys are all having a great day. I'm in the kitchen today, and I'm about to make some baked bread, some sandwich bread, and then some cinnamon raisin bread. Now, we're transitioning here in this house from getting bread from the grocery store to me just making fresh baked bread. It's better for you. It does not last as long, but that's okay because I have a huge family and bread doesn't last very long in the house anyways for us. This is a recipe I've used for many years and everyone absolutely loves it. The best part though is the smell. Everyone loves to come home and that fresh baked bread smell. Ooh, if you haven't experienced it, you got to. You gotta just make it just to experience the smell of the bread baking in the oven. So let's get started. Let's make some bread. I got me 4 cups of warm water, and this is just warm to touch, not scalding, just warm, because we're gonna put our dry active yeast inside of here and it needs to bloom. And if it's not warm, it will kill our yeast. So let's get that going. 4 tablespoons of that. 1, 2, 3. And I'm making a very large quantity of bread. So if you have a smaller family, cut the ingredients in half or in fourths. Now I'm gonna go and do a 1/2 cup of sugar. And typically I use brown sugar for this recipe. I don't have it, so I'm just going to use white sugar. Any sugar will do. Two 4 cups makes a 1/2 cup. I'm going to stir this so then the yeast can get incorporated with all that sugar, and the sugar feeds the yeast. I want to make sure it all gets in contact with that sugar and it feeds it, and that way we have really nice fluffy bread. And also, moving the yeast ensures that you know your yeast is alive and it's working. You don't want dead yeast, it's black bread. So I'm gonna wait for this. I'm gonna give it about 10 minutes or so to ensure that my yeast is blooming. Okay, welcome back. I didn't wait about 10 minutes, but I don't have the time to wait. I know it's blooming because it looks absolutely beautiful. As you can see the little bubbles in it, and it's starting to bubble and froth and do all the things yeast does. So now we're gonna slowly add in a few ingredients. We're going to add in a tablespoon of salt, and we're going to add in 5 tablespoons of oil. Which is about 5 tablespoons of oil is about 1/4 cup of oil. Okay. Now we got the biggest ingredient of all. We have the flour. Now you can use all-purpose flour. I prefer to use bread flour when I'm making bread. I'm just gonna stir this up real good. Ooh, whoa. That yeast is yeasting. Okay, it smells good already. Now when I add in flour, I just kind of get handfuls and I put it in. Make sure you have very clean hands when doing this. If you have a stand mixer, you can use that. I have a stand mixer. It's small though. It's not meant for such large quantities as this. And plus, I really enjoy making bread by hand. I'm a very much a texture person as I bake and cook. So I like to feel the texture as I'm going. And that's how I know when it's ready. And when you're baking bread, you got to get the texture right. Okay. It's at the point where it's hard to stir. So, time to dump it and knead. And I like to get all my goods out. And as it sticks to me, I just throw some more flour on. I'm going for a soft, non-stick texture. So I'm kind of pulling the dough and folding it over on itself. And really just trying to get that flour worked into the dough. And I'm going to keep going until pieces don't fall off the dough. This is what I'm talking about. This is a beautiful piece of dough. So I'm going to clean this out, get it oiled, and my bread will rise in this bowl. I'm going to allow it to rest or give it time to rise for about 30 minutes. Now, the rate of your rise is different for everyone. It really depends on how warm your kitchen is. All right, I'll be back. Okay, y'all, I'm back. My bread, I left it for about 30 minutes. Went to go pick up my son, and it went over the top of the bowl. So you don't want that, but I knew that bowl was too small. I knew it. I knew it. So it is ready for its second kneading. So I'm gonna cut it in half, and then I'm gonna cut it in half again. And each half will give me a loaf. I'm gonna put it off to the side, and I'm just gonna knead each one. And after you do your first proofing, you really should have a very soft dough, like extremely soft. So now it's time for me to roll this dough out. Move it off to the side. I'm gonna need a service and not gonna move on me on this. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be stretched out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll it on each other. And as I roll, I'm gonna pinch. So as you roll, you're gonna pinch. Roll and pinch. Roll and pinch. And this last bit you're gonna pinch because you're gonna seal it up. And then you're gonna roll in the sides. And this is ready for its loaf pan. And I'll let them proof again for another 30 minutes or so.
I'm not sure what happened to this footage, but I allowed the dough to rise for about 15 minutes. My kitchen was nice and warm. So it's depending on how warm your kitchen is, how long that second rise should be. But for me, it was about 15 minutes. And it should rise to about the level of bread. So about the level to the size of the bread that you want it to be. So it shouldn't be spilling over your pan at all, but it should be reaching the top of your pan. like a normal loaf of bread, and then you put it into the oven. Okay, y'all, after 30 minutes or so, the bread is out, and this is what it looks like. It is truly delicious, y'all. I'm gonna get it out and on a cooling pan, on a cooling rack, and then let it cool down, and it's ready to eat from there. We won't, I'll keep like one loaf, the raisin bread, and then one sandwich loaf, and then the rest will just go into the freezer for when they need it. All right, y'all, this is it. Shalom.